What's up, y'all? I'm PC McCray. You can call me P.
Hey y'all, my name is Shaun the Head. You can call me Shaun the Head. And this is the Everything Has Changed podcast.
From two college roommates to 40-something adults, life has been lifing and we want to talk about it.
We are the new adults, y'all.
How did that happen?
I don't know, P, but we got to talk about it.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're listening to this. Hello to the people.
Hey y'all. Hey, hey.
How you doing,
Hey,
Shaun?
girl,
laughing.
I'm here, girl. It's usually it's either you or it's me. Today,
Yes. But ain't that life?
yeah.
And we're laughing because you ever been so sometimes all you can do is laugh. That's
hmm
all you can do is just have the giggles because it helps you from just crashing out. Uh
Sometimes the crashing out is fun as well.
yeah, it's necessary.
Little
It's
crash out for some
necessary.
giggling.
Little
That's
crash
when you
crash.
know it's real. Yeah, yeah.
Ye-
But you were telling me about a something that you saw a clip of Oprah and Maria Shriver, because Maria Shriver got a book coming out, right?
Yes. So, Mother Oprah. She has a podcast also.
hmm
And she had
Love it.
Maria Shriver on. She was married to Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that stuff. In it, she doesn't call it a memoir. She calls it a book of poetry, but her poetry are stories about her life, which essentially are is a memoir.
Okay, Maria.
I know. It's the way she has it structured, I think that's what she's going with instead of just putting it out there.
Sounds like marketing.
Hey, that's that's what it does. It
That's what we
works.
do. Mhm.
That's what we do. And it had me thinking because she goes there, of course. We know her story with her family being in the Kennedys and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But with Arnold Schwarzenegger being the governor and when she was first lady of California, and when he cheated with
Mhm.
the housekeeper and the story came out. So Arnold and Maria have 4 children, and then I wanna say the boy, like, it was, a while, like, they're kind of the same age, so he kept it on the low
Yeah.
for a long time, for
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
long time, and she just was talking about, of course, being embarrassed and confused and all of the things, and I thought about their kids. And even the maid's child, I have to look up their name, I don't wanna say it like that, because there it's not his fault that he was born in
Right.
an affair.
Right. Right.
But I thought about her daughters and how do you reconcile that and her sons, how do you reconcile your father hurting your mother like that in such a public way, producing this child, this lie that she lived with, that he lived with all this time. And it just made me think of when daughters recognize their dads or their fathers have some type of infidelity or outside children, those type of things. I always tease with my dad too. I was like, Dad, don't let me come out, don't let me find out.
Right.
Don't let me find out I got a sibling out somewhere out here.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do
Reconsider.
it. I asked. Look, now so far nobody's come up and I did ancestry and it doesn't show any other siblings. So if it is somebody, they're not looking for him.
What?
I'm a
Why? But why are you actively looking for it?
well, I'm
Actively looking
not, but
for
I'm just
another sibling.
it would come up if a person was looking for their father and they were trying to put in information and then I connect, they'd be like, "Oh, you got a half sister? What? What?" So far, I'll only see cousins and first cousins and all that stuff and all
Yeah.
third, fourth, fifth. So far, me and my daddy, I'd be like, hey, hey,
Hey.
don't don't do it.
Oh,
Don't do it.
wait, Pete. That's this. Listen, this is juicy. Okay, and it brings back memories. My okay, I don't know anything about being the daughter whose father had like I, actually I don't know. I was about to say I don't know anything about being the daughter whose father had like side children. I guess I'm not sure what the correct phrasing on that, but I definitely have brothers that I've never met. Two of them,
Bro brothers.
two. Because well, I was a happy accident. Okay. And so
Yes.
once I came along, that's really when mommy was like, you know what, let's let's nip this in the bud because she don't need to grow up under all this mess. And so by the time when I turned 2 is when they were officially divorced. Um, but my dad had left the state, had a relationship with a white lady, and she had a son. So I have a brother who is mixed, and the lady wrote mommy a letter trying to ask
What?
her how she went about getting child support from my dad because she was having a hard time getting child support from him. And
They were separated though at this time.
P, I don't know. And everybody who's involved is no longer with us. Okay? I don't know. But I do know that there was a relationship with a white woman and there was a son. I don't know his name. And the lady, I know that she, because one of mommy's best friends told me, and this, like, her best friend from way back. So she was her best friend when this
Yeah.
happened. And she told me, like, she called me and we had to talk through if she was going to respond to this lady or what. Because the lady was, that relationship was now over and she was now trying to get child support. And at the end of the day, mommy apparently was just like, you gonna have to figure that out on your own. Because also,
Because
we
the
never,
nerve.
and we never had, she didn't get child support for us to the point where my dad was arrested for not paying child support. And he would keep getting jobs. And once they found out where he was working and that he owed back child support, then he would quit the job and go get a new job. Mhm.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And so I don't know how many times he was arrested, but I do know there was at least one time where he was arrested for failure for a child support. And it's two of us. So it was me and my older brother. Um, and then he went on to get married to another lady who looked a lot like mommy. And they had a child. They had a son. But they were married,
Right.
and because when my brother would go visit with him, he met that wife.
Okay.
Okay. So, um, but yeah, they had a son that neither of us have ever met. So we have two brothers. Now, my dad died back in 2009, heart attack. But I hadn't seen him since I was 7. So they got divorced when I was 2. The last time I saw him, I was 7, and it was at school. It wasn't even at home. He came to my school, and the teacher called me to the door, and I go to the door, and he's there with the lady that he said was my aunt. I didn't know the lady, but I can't see her I can see like her silhouette in my head. I still remember what I was wearing. I see him standing
Wow.
there and her standing there. Tall lady, because his sisters appear. What I've been told were tall women, larger women. So he brought her up, and I guess he brought her to the school to see me, because they didn't know us like that at all. And that was the last time I saw him, and I was 7. So when he died in 2009, um, that family, male granny. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking through this so slowly, but this has been a very long time since I've told this story. Like it's coming back to me now. But they male granny. They always had granny's address, always. And they said, hey, he's passed, and we want the kids to come to his funeral. Ask me, was I at that funeral? Nope, absolutely not. And so then they get like mommy's information from granny to call mommy and say, well, we want to talk to the kid or whatever. Now at this point, P, it's 2009, so I'm in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a no for me. It's a no for me. And so my brother did end up speaking to his wife at the time. But I believe they were actually estranged when he died. Listen, it's it's well known that my dad was undiagnosed with something or several things. So he left he burned a lot of bridges. I even found after mommy died, I found a copy of a newsletter, a news article about him from where he was living. He had gotten in trouble, and they wrote it up about him. He was such a big liar, you see. He
You
lied
so
so much.
crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
You
He
see.
lied so much, he ended up getting this job, some kind of high city job, and he was not who they like, a con man, basically. And then got in trouble for sexual harassment, had all these lawsuits against him, all this stuff. So they wrote it up in the paper, and we apparently had family friends where he was at. So they copied it and sent us a copy of the newspaper. Now, I didn't know anything about this man till after he died. That's one thing. Mommy never said
Mhm.
anything negative about him. Not one word. And when he
Yep.
died, I actually had to press her to get the story. I'm like, okay, well, he's dead now. Tell me what the hell, like, what's
Yeah.
going? That's when I found out, like, he had been abusive. He was a gambler, a heavy drinker. And I remember I was in the car and I looked at her because it's like, that's honestly what made me think about my preconceived notions, even about stuff like about domestic abuse and stuff. Because I'm sitting here looking at mommy like she's this strong, confident lady and blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at her like, wait, what happened? Because I do not picture you being in that situation, but it just goes like that's how she got to be where she was. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff happened to her, and then I came along, and she's like, "Nope, my life has to change, starting right now." And she actually changed her life. You know, she went back to school, all that stuff. But I didn't know anything negative about him. No one told me anything negative until he died, and then my brother was like, if you had grown up in the house with him like I did, you would be a different person. You would not be who you are right now.
Wow.
And he was like, I'm so thankful that you did not grow up with him.
Because my question was gonna be, you always hear about women who have quote unquote daddy issues. With his
Mm-hmm.
absence, and I mean from you being a little girl, it's not even like he was in your life and then he left.
Mm-hmm.
How has that shown up in your life that you've been able to recognize?
Girl, I don't have the slightest idea. I really don't. I actually think about this because here's the thing. I had a great childhood.
Mhm.
I did not know or think that I was missing anything, and I did not remember him. In fact, the only memories I have, like maybe 3 memories of him, 4 if you include the last time I saw him. The other 3 memories are attached to photographs. So sometimes I'm like, do I actually have the memories or do am I just remembering the photograph? Like I have an Easter
Right.
picture and I remember he took that picture. And then I there's a picture of me, my brother and him. And I remember he set the timer and then came and hopped behind us so all 3 of us could be in the picture. And it was in a hotel, so I know we had gone to visit him. So it was after they were divorced. But and I have like one more memory. All of my memories with him are around pictures because he was an artist. That's where I get all my stuff from. He was a
Yeah.
photographer. I think photography was more so his hobby. I did professional photography for a long time. So when she would talk about him, and she would bring him up, but when she would bring him up, it
Mhm.
was never negative. It was about like,
She was
our artist. I
protecting
get
his
the
image.
artistry from. She ain't said not a word to the point where I'm
Yeah.
like, hold on, I did not know. Mom, any of that, and our cousin to this day still feels guilt for being a part of how they even met. So that's what I'm saying. This guy, he was, you know, people ain't care for him, and apparently, rightly so. And so I grew up without him, and I don't have any memories of him outside of a couple photographs. Um, like I remember one day in ninth grade, it just hit me. One day, I had like a room breakdown in the middle of science class. W-
Mm.
I don't know why. I don't know if somebody was talking about their dad or what. But I remember I had to step outside, and then my teacher took me to another teacher's room who had a similar story upbringing, and so she told me about her upbringing to like connect with me or whatever. But that's literally the only time it happened, and it was just some random day in high school. Outside of that, P, honestly, what I've come to, my brother is actually has had the most work to do because of their relationship. When they divorced, my brother was like 14. Anybody with a
Okay, so
male
he was
child know that is that 13, 14 is when
yes,
they kind of go left. And you either got to
yes.
stand on their neck or you got to hold, like some the ones who going to go left, that's when they start to go left. And so for
Mhm.
your dad to leave at that exact moment, but then also for your dad to be an abusive dad. And then I do remember like we would both like write him letters and stuff after the divorce and they would get sent back to us. It affected my brother in a way. He lost a part of himself, but then the part that he lost was also not nice to him, but that was still his dad. He's had
Yep.
so much to work through and it has affected him, right? That's his own story to tell, but it has really affected him. And sometimes I'm not gonna say I feel guilty, but I feel like our upbringings were so dramatically different. I don't have the weight of that. Even though I grew up without a dad, so I technically would be a person who has quote unquote daddy issues, but I don't consciously feel the weight of that. And of course, we know subconscious is everything, but I don't feel the
Right.
weight of that the way my brother does. And it makes me sad for him and the boy that he was, and for that to happen. Because my brother, again, I'm not to tell his business, but I can at least, So when he was in high school, he he had to have therapy, and he got kicked out of therapy. He started hanging with the wrong crowd. Then they came to our house. They robbed our house. They stole all mommy's
Oh
jewelry.
my God.
Not my brother, but his friends that he was
The
hanging with.
wrong
You see what I'm saying?
people.
So it's like
Mhm.
all this was going on at the same time. I feel for him, and the work that he's had to do on himself, and then he has two male children. So I just feel for him and how he came up and have had to work through that because we've had some conversations since we've been adults where he's now let me know all the things. And
Yeah.
it hurt him, and then I look at me and it's like I had this happy go lucky childhood, and it was just me and mommy
Right.
because by the time my brother was basically out the house by the time I have full-fledged memories of things. And so I honest to God feel like I don't even know if this is what it is. I don't know if this is a thing. But when I think about me and I think about my mom and my father, I feel like he was necessary for me to be here.
Mhm.
Outside of that, I'm not saying I didn't need a dad, but apparently for who I was supposed to be, I absolutely needed my mom and who she was in my life because that's the way that I live my
Yes.
life and my philosophies nowadays. All the decisions I make, it's like, okay, well, what mommy say? All these things. And
Mhm.
as far as my dad's concerned, I think that they just needed like the pieces of him that would make me me. My brother needed a my dad though.
Yeah.
He needed him, good or bad. You know what I mean? Um, and I don't. Again, I could be making this up. I don't know if this is a thing. If there any therapist or psychologist listening, I don't know if this is even a thing that people think or what. But I just feel like he was necessary for me to be here and living.
Mhm.
But for my brother, that father piece, and him being his father, that affected him so dramatically. And we just had dramatically different child. Now, yes, there's an age gap because again, I was
Yeah,
not planned. Okay. But
yeah.
I don't, girl, I don't know. I don't feel no ways about it. It's just, but it's wild because it's like, but how'd you get here? You know, it was necessary for me
Well,
to get
not
here.
no, and beyond that, but like, how sometimes most times when people are discussing data issues with women, it shows up in their dating history. It's
Hmm.
either you're searching for that love, that peace that wasn't given to you from a male figure in your life, and so you end up staying in abusive relationships, or you're longing for some type of connection with a male figure.
Yeah.
That's statistically that's what they say.
Right.
So
Yes.
if you didn't feel that, or you don't think you went through those processes, then that's your story is your story. It's unique, and you didn't have to fall into those traps. But we hear about that so much, and
Hmm.
I would say for me, I don't have daddy issues because my dad was in the house. My parents were married, but he some guys would consider it daddy issues because I would not take no shit. Like I had something to judge against. So if you didn't, my dad didn't talk to me crazy. He grew up in a
Right.
household that
Mm.
his mom and his stepfather fought, and so he made a plan. He made
Mm.
a mission that he was not going to have that mess in his house. And they didn't do that in front. They had arguments and stuff, but never fights and him being disrespectful and at all. He didn't talk to me crazy even when he was mad. What he says to me, if I ever did something and he was mad at me, he would say, "I'm so disappointed." And that would
Mm.
crush me. Oh my
Not you,
god.
Vanessa
It
Huxtable.
that was it.
Yes.
He didn't need to yell, no
Yeah.
spanking, no what he all he would say, it just look me in my face and say, "I'm so disappointed." So so even now, I don't like him to get mad at me. He has dementia, and sometimes he can't help it. I'm like, "Well, Dad,
Yeah.
don't be
Yeah.
mad."
Yeah. Come
And
on,
then,
let's fix
a
it.
couple of minutes later or so, he'll be, "Hey, how you doing?" "Okay, we're back."
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I was dating, in my, when we were dating people as we
Mhm.
were growing up, especially like in college and even into my adulthood, like don't talk to me crazy. If you even hint to raise your voice at me crazy, it's like, "Oh, I'm out. Deuces."
Mhm.
'Cause I got a daddy. I had this one guy, he wanted me to call him. Now, mind you,
Mm-mm. Don't
we
say it.
weren't
I already know
seriously
what.
dating. Yep, yeah, yeah. You know where it's going. You know where it's going. Girl, listen, mind you, nothing was happening. We were just talking. We were in the talking stages, just getting to know
Mhm.
each other.
Mhm.
And one night we were on the phone and he was like, "Yeah, I want you to call me daddy. Uncle
Mm.
Daddy."
Uncle
What?
Daddy. Excuse
Like,
me. This is
excuse me? Excuse me?
it's like claws.
I am not
It's
calling
weird.
no man daddy because I got a daddy. It's weird.
Mm.
It's weird. And he was dead ass though. He was dead. I was like, "You playing. Stop playing." I'm
Maybe he
joking. We're
thought
on the
that was like
phone. I'm
some
laughing.
foreplay.
Yes. And I quickly
Yeah.
shot that down. I was like, absolutely
Mhm.
not. No, absolutely not. That's not, I'm not the girl for that. And he's, "Oh yeah, you one of them girls. You don't think daddy is sexy." No, I don't at all. At all. At all.
Mm.
Uncle Daddy girl. That's what he said.
Hey, friends, we're just getting this podcast going and we're so thankful for your support. If you want to be updated whenever we drop a new episode or when we drop some of the special things we've got coming, head on over to everythinhaschangedpodcast.com and drop us your email so you can stay locked in. Cool? Cool.
I will never forget that. But yeah, and maybe and also like you
Uncle
though, you
Daddy is
still laughing.
wild, B.
I'm
Uncle
it's
Daddy.
wild. It's
Wasn't
wild.
that a character's name on Claus with Niecy Nash? What did they call him? Because he
They
literally
did call
was
him
they
Uncle Daddy.
yeah, okay. So I'm like, because he was
They did, right?
yeah.
Claus, Imma have to look that up. Yeah, and it's so
But I didn't think that was
it
like a
caught me
real life
off
thing.
guard. Yes. And he has the deep voice and he's trying to we're just talking. Like again, no, we are not even together. It's not we're in the talking phase. And you talking
Mhm.
about that? Uncle Dad, if you don't bye, bye. So that quickly was like, mm-mm, uh-uh. And like you, if you're saying you didn't miss the male figure because your mom was such a strong, independent example for you, you still you knew not to take no crap from nobody. So I guess I had
No,
it
because
on
I
both
wasn't used to
sides.
that. Yeah,
What?
because I wasn't used to. I didn't grow up in a house where people yelled, people fought, people
Yeah.
argued. Like I seen my brother raise his voice maybe 2 times at my mama. The first time, cause she's short like me. She was like a couple inches. She's like 5'4", and I'm 5'2". But and my brother is 6'2", and
Oh,
and
wow.
and he raised his voice, and she got up in his face. Oh, oh,
I
you going,
bet.
like she did one of those. And I do remember him punching the wall one time, right? And the second time he raised his voice was the last day he lived here. He was gone. That that's
Yeah.
that's all I like. We didn't have them things in our house. But now I see because my mom and my brother lived a life like that before I was even here, and I didn't have any idea.
And
I
she
didn't
said,
have
absolutely
any.
not.
Yes, yes. So I'm not used to that. So then
Mhm.
if I'm then in a situation where that's happened, I'm like, well, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, hold on. This is
Right,
not
right. Who you
TV.
talking
Like,
to?
that's TV stuff, right? Like,
Mhm, mhm.
like, I just have not been used to that. And then, when you go to therapy and then you find out that, okay, so that's why you have certain reactions to certain things. So that's why I'm like,
Mhm.
consciously, I ain't thought about it. But of course, subconsciously, it's going on.
It's there.
And then I also, like, I didn't grow up in a house with two parents. So I I literally just never thought about marriage. It it wasn't a thing I thought about. And then I would watch like movies and stuff, and the little girls would be drawing their wedding dress, and they would be talking about it. I ain't had one thought about it
Mm-mm.
until I had like a serious relationship where I thought maybe, we gonna end up being married at some point. That didn't happen, but that was the first time I ever thought about any kind of marriage. So then it's like that wasn't really a goal for me. It's like, oh, if it happens, that's amazing. I would love that. And that's the most that I thought past it. And then now look at
Yeah.
me now. It's like mistakes should come up like once a year and be like, no, we good. You know
We're
what
all
I'm
right.
saying?
We're
Like,
good. We're
and
good how
so
we are.
that so I'm sure that's probably could be where that comes from. I do, I'm sure, have the whole abandonment or rejection thing. So
Mm.
it's like I wasn't constantly out here looking for like, replacements or anything, but I do recall not really thinking that I could think all the way in the future because who the hell knows? Because I'm not. That hasn't really been my experience. And I do remember one time I was telling mommy we was in the car. And I think I had an argument with my boyfriend at the time, and we was talking, and she was telling me how my dad used to act with her. Now, and this was like the most info I got before he died, by
Mhm,
the way, because I think at this point
mhm.
hadn't passed. Where she was like, he was real standoffish and all these things. Now we know he had some mental things going on. But people didn't care for him, and she said that too. And she was like, so unless a person is like that, we were kind of having like a pros and cons discussion. And I was like, yeah, I don't even think I'm gonna get married though, because for what or whatever. And I remember she cried, and that made me feel bad. So then I was like, okay, maybe I should rejudge, okay, because it made her
Oh.
so sad. And now as I was in my 20s at that time, but now in my 40s, I'm like, okay, so I'm sure what she was thinking in that moment is that, okay, because of my decisions and And, because of the life that I lived, she was brought up in a certain way to where she doesn't even view marriage as like a thing.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel bad. Now, as a really full-fledged adult, middle aged or whatever, I'm like, I can that I that feels like,
That wasn't
okay,
your intention.
that wasn't my intention at all. I'm just being, honest. Like we had very honest,
Yeah.
transparent discussions. But that was like, and I ain't see my mommy cry a lot either. She was not. I'm sure it would be behind closed doors. I could probably count
Mhm.
on one hand the amount of times I've seen her cry or be upset to the point where she might will cry. And that was one, and it happened so quickly. We were in the car, and she started. It wasn't weeping or anything, but she got teary eyed, and a couple tears fell. And now when I look
Yeah.
back on it, I'm like, she probably feels like it was because of her that I would now feel like I can't have certain things. And that wasn't really what I meant, but now when I think back on it, I feel bad about, making her cry, but yeah, so it absolutely clearly it affected me. So when I talk about it that way, it just feels like at the end of the day he wasn't here. And I just believe everything happened how it's supposed to happen. So when they was mixing me up, my little potion of, okay, we're gonna put some of this, gonna have some of this, have some of this, have some of this. Now, okay, now put that in her stomach, okay, and then that's gonna birth
Yeah.
a Shonda, okay. And so
That's
it was
it.
like who I'm supposed to be, but was my brother outright was like, you would not be the person, have the personality, all the good stuff you got going, and you would not be that person if you grew up under that man. Full
Yeah.
stop.
So you're right. Things happen for a reason. But, with me, again, my parents, I watched them be married for 45 years before mom passed, and I did
Oh,
not want to be married.
45. Goodness gracious.
45. Together 50. Uh-huh.
Wow, P.
I did not. I did not. I did
You didn't want to
not.
be
I
married?
knew no. I knew I wanted love. I wanted to love
Now look
someone
at you over there
and
just as married. I'm
I am, right. But
but what?
it wasn't a goal. Like you said, how girls are dreaming about their
Mhm.
weddings and making picture boards of what they're gonna wear and all. Mm-mm,
Mhm.
mm-mm. Or girls, oh, I'm 25. By 25, I'm gonna have this, and I'm gonna be engaged by 29, and we're gonna get married by 30. I'm
Right.
gonna have a baby. But none of that. None of it.
Wait, so
None
are
of
you
it.
saying
And
that you didn't want to get married, or you saying you just didn't think about getting married? Or was you like, no, I don't want to be married as a child?
both, both. And
What?
and it really when I'm thinking about like college age. Because I'm
Okay.
not high school, I wasn't, you
Yeah.
whatever. But as people were talking about wanting to be married and wanting that just wasn't
Mhm.
my thing. And I'm going to my friends' weddings as they're getting married. Hey, I am so happy, genuinely happy for you. That is not what I
Yeah.
want. It just
Hmm.
didn't.
Did you know why you
And
felt
here,
that way?
yes. Well, now, like you said, as we're full-fledged adults, my dad is a provider. They had a beautiful relationship. But like most women, and you hate to generalize, the bulk of the responsibility was on her
Mhm.
shoulders,
Okay.
for
Okay. Yeah.
everything, for
Yes.
me to take care of him.
Mhm.
Um, and she did that again because my dad was sick most of my life. He had different ailments. She was
Mhm.
there nonstop, and it just she would not allow herself to go out or do things, or she would, it would just pop out, pop in because she was making sure that he was okay. And I'm like, he's fine. He's going to be fine.
Mhm.
He's going to be okay. You need
Mhm.
to go and do. Now, she loved him down. She was very much a my man, my
Yeah.
man, my man, my man, my man.
Yes. Yes. Girl.
She was very much that girl.
I love that.
But I just, yes. Oh, she didn't play. Um, Yeah, I did not. I didn't. I saw and what I would see it was the woman almost losing herself in the man or
Mhm.
in the marriage.
Mhm.
Um, Even with children, you lose your who you are. And I don't know if that's selfish or not. I just didn't want to do that. Um, and then,
Mhm.
like you said, here I am. Once you find the right person, it makes you
Yes.
change all of that. And because and then you realize it's not a chore, it's not forced. If you really love somebody, you're gonna do these things out of love. It didn't seem like I thought it was, and then this young brain, it connected to when they say the woman is you have to submissive.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And I did not fully understand it was the, oh, you gotta do what I say. Not understanding that no, if when you truly submit, you're submitting as a couple to the love to be in a partnership and wanting to do for each other because it's submission for both
Yeah.
of us. But we're
And then, but then,
taught
if you pick
that
the right person, then submission is fine. Like, because I know
exactly,
you're gonna make a good
exactly,
decision or a decision that's gonna benefit me or be considerate of me or whatever. But the problem be it be people out here wanting people to submit, and they be out here making bullshit ass decisions.
exactly. And so from left and right, I'm seeing my girlfriends, especially like in high school or in college, like breaking down, losing sleep,
Hmm.
messing up their grades, all because of these dudes, and they running around doing what they want to do. It's like, well, what are you fighting this girl about to get kicked out of school, and he's over here doing no, ma'am, no, ma'am. I didn't want no part of that. And so that was my view to just not have that. But once you meet the right person, and it just helps you just to reevaluate uh, the thought process of that. But I will say, my mom, like you, she was we would have wonderful discussions, and she would open up, and she was dating a guy, and she loved him down too.
Mhm.
But my grandmother told her, she was like, "Mm-mm, he ain't it."
Oh.
Mind you, this man he was going to Harvard to be a dentist, like,
Oh.
he was hitting all the notes on paper and super charming and all this, and my grandmother was like,
Was he
"Mm-mm,
too charming? Like, why
something ain't
didn't she
right
like
about
him?
this boy."
Yeah.
She peeped it. She
Okay.
peeped it, and
Uh-huh.
so it wasn't until after they broke up that mom would think about it. She said, he was trying to be controlling and
Mm.
possessive, and he would, she went to FAM and he went to Florida State, and he would
Mhm.
say, "Oh, I saw you walking across the quad and you were talking to a guy. Who was that?" And she was like, "What? You supposed to be
Was
in
it behind the
class.
screen?
What are you doing?
Oh no.
Hello? What are
Hold
you doing?"
on. Hold
Yeah,
on.
wait.
Hold on.
So eventually, and they were engaged. They got engaged, and back in the day, they got engaged like super early, but they got
Yes.
engaged and everything. But she just something didn't let her go through with it, and fast forward, he finished dental school and married someone else, but he ended up killing his wife.
P.
Girl.
What? Wait, you just
Yes.
you should have prepared me. I did not know this story was gonna go that way.
Yep. Yep. And my grandma called it. My
P.
grandma called it. Yes. He ended up
Oh
killing his wife
God.
and going to prison. Mhm.
When so how old
Mhm.
like how much after they had broken up did this happen?
Oh, years.
Hey.
So, my mom was married to dad. I was around because
Oh, okay.
I remember when it was one of those things like, "Oh my god, my ex-fiance is in prison for killing his
Is a
wife.
murderer. Oh my
He's a
goodness.
murderer." Exactly. And that
Jesus.
the discernment for her to be like, "Nah, something ain't right." And my grandmother
Yeah. Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
call it,
Early.
to call it. And as much as we don't want our mamas to be right sometimes they be right. And I was
Wow.
dating a few people, and she would be like, "Mm-mm, he ain't it.
Your
No."
mom?
Mhm. She like, "No. No." But because she told me that story and I believe my grandmother and her, and then things reveal themselves once I got
Mhm.
over myself of trying not to prove her right. I was like, "Yeah, she was right. She was right about that." But that
Yeah.
particular story, that guy, she was prepared to marry him, and something just told her, along with my grandmother's discernment, was like, "He ain't it." That man went to prison. I believe he died in prison.
So wait. So she broke off the engagement?
Broke
What
off the
made her break
engagement.
off the engagement? She just was like
She
she felt weird about him, and it was just like,
yeah,
"Are we moving too fast?"
yeah, yep, and I think it progressed his possessiveness progressed over
Uh-huh.
time, and she was just like,
Okay.
"Mm-mm." She wasn't that girl. She wasn't having that either, and she was like, "I'll find me somebody else." See what she
See,
did.
I was not ready.
You weren't ready for that. I
I
know.
was not ready. That's like when you watching the news and they be like, "Oh, this might be disturbing to watch." They don't tell
Nope.
you till after. They're like, "Oh, by the way, they died." Wait a minute. Wait, I
Yeah.
wasn't interested.
Yep.
Oh my
Yep.
god.
Mhm.
That is
Mhm.
wild.
That
I'm so
story
glad.
sticks with me.
Wow.
It sticks with me, and when
Decision.
she told me decisions and seeing it early, I was dating this one guy, and I was over we were just at the house just watching TV or whatever, and my cousin called, and I picked up, "Hey, girl, I'm hanging out with so and so. I'll give you a call later." And I hung up the phone, and he was like, "Don't answer any phone calls when you're here with me." "Excuse me? Come again?" I quickly got my bag and
Let me
walked
tiptoe
straight
up
on
out of
out.
here.
Let me go ahead and excuse myself. One finger
You
up
like
and
Viola?
uh, cause what?
Let me
That's
grab
my
my.
cousin. Like that's my cousin. So you if that was the only flag I needed. Cause you
Yeah.
tripping about my female cousin calling me, and all I'm saying is, "Hey, I'm with so and you talking about, well, excuse me, what? Mm, mm-mm, okay, time's up." So I was
Yes.
real
Yeah.
quick for anything that was slightly like that. No, I'm walking away.
My goodness. But I love that your grandma got that little hit, right, of the intuition
Mhm.
that she felt like she could talk to her daughter and tell her daughter, and that her daughter would actually receive the information, and then that her daughter kept that information and kept her eye on, because some you be telling people, not you, universal you, but you'll
Sure.
be telling some people stuff, and they'll just, yeah, whatever. And
They'll
or
dismiss it.
listen, people make their own decisions, that you got to learn your own lessons and all that. In this particular situation, thank God your that sparked something in your mom's head. And then now, because that was your mom and her story, you have that, you know, anecdote. So now as you move through
Yep.
life, you immediately, like, it's like it creates a, not a legacy, but it's like y'all now have something that's now moving through the women in your family. It started
Mhm.
with your grandma just saying something one day, speaking on what she saw.
Mhm. Like you
My
said, he
God,
was
today.
too charming,
Yes.
like
When you
too
said charming,
perfect,
I said,
and
okay,
she
hold
was
on, because charming don't be,
yeah.
it don't be really a
She
good
was
thing.
like, "Mm-mm, mm-mm," and, my mom was like, "No, ma, you just don't know him. You don't know him
Right.
like I do," and that's the
Right.
same stuff.
But she
But
was listening. She was listening.
she
Yeah.
listened,
Yeah.
and you're right. Sometimes when you're in it, some of my girlfriends, I'm like, "Girl, mm-mm, he ain't it," but they're in it, so they can't see it. It's not until they make their own decision when they can pull back and it's like, "Damn, I shoulda been gone from that."
Yeah, but then also everything happens for a reason too, though, because sometimes you quote unquote not supposed to be with somebody, but you actually are, because there's a lesson or whatever you need to learn, to move on. You know what I'm saying, to the next thing, and it's I don't know. I don't guess I speak. I'll talk to my friends about stuff like after the fact. I don't be too vocal on stuff just because it's like sometimes it's literally just that y'all supposed to produce this baby over here, and so you gonna deal with
Life.
bullshit. You gonna yeah, like it's sometimes it's way bigger than okay. I like this person, you know. So a lot of times with people, like I have friends who've married and divorced and had kids, and it's like it's really with people who are not good people. Okay, it's not like oh it didn't work out. It's like why did I make that decision? Why
Mhm.
did I bring kids into this world with them? Why did I waste all those years of my life? But it's like well, if the answer is simple to me, if there's a child here, I'm like oh it's because that child was supposed to get here. That's why. You know, and then that child was supposed to be born at a certain time. So you was going through all this shenanigans. That's the way, at least that's the way that I look at it. But I'm very much a things happen for a reason type of person. That don't mean that I be happy about the shit. But like I'm always
Right.
I
Like,
do
this
know
was
when
some
there's a child
bullshit.
that's come out, I'm like, well, this is very simple. This is a very simple answer to this. You dealt with all that because you were supposed to bring this child to this world. They needed some of you, they needed some of him, they needed some of this, some of that. Boom, there you go. And now y'all break up afterwards.
And if you don't have a child in it, in the relationship, then that's maybe the lesson is, okay, I should not be with this person. Um,
That's a
and
good point,
another
P.
thing I'll say too, social media, I hate when I tell you I hate the conversations, the men versus women conversations.
Yeah. Oh,
The
me
the
too.
the $250 dates and who's
Yeah.
paying for this and that. Oh, hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Because at the end of the day, you and your partner are the ones that make the rules.
Yes.
What works for you and your boo, Shaun, might not work for me and my boo.
Right.
It's what works for you two. You two need to
Mhm.
discuss. Don't have these people out here mess up your relationship on social media because you're trying to go going to the Cheesecake Factory is crazy. The Cheesecake Factory is all right.
I will
It's
go to the
okay.
Cheesecake Factory any day of the week. Do you hear
What
me?
are you
I
talking
love me some
about?
Cheesecake Factory. I love me some
Going
Red
to get some ice
Lobster.
cream?
And so sometimes, like, is it just a
What? Cut it
generational thing?
out.
Like maybe because we grew up with all this other stuff
It
wasn't. But then you look at the people who are in our age range who are saying that. And but I'm with you, P. Everybody
Yes.
is different. Every relationship is different. Every situation is different. And then your relationship goes through phases too. Like if you are in a long term or whatever, the first
Yes.
few months look different than a year or two down the road. It's like shut the fuck up. Like it. Everybody is even that whole thing. Remember there was that thing. I'm just saying, like, remember there was that thing where they were talking about, oh, like women shouldn't date a blue collar man, but then they should date a blue collar man. It's like, just do what's right for you.
I
Like,
can't breathe.
date some of everybody. Like, I don't who the like.
Oh
I
my
don't
God.
like when people things are not black and white. So when you do generalize
It's
these
not.
things, it's like it that simply just can't be true
It's
because
so
it's literally
dumb.
billions of us out here. So no, no, like nothing. It's that's
It,
just things
it's
are not
so
black and white like that.
dumb.
Crazy.
Does this person treat you well? Is he or she kind to you? Can they
Mhm.
maintain a job, whether it's blue collar, white collar?
Mhm.
What? What? Now, what was it? Ebony K. Williams. I think she had a big
Yeah,
issue because she said she wasn't date a bus driver.
that's who I
Yeah,
was. That's exactly
I
that's
will say
yes.
this. I'll say this for her too. There are thresholds. She's a multimillionaire herself. All right.
Mhm.
She's used to dating multimillionaires and billionaires. So for her, for Ebony K. Williams, she would not date the bus driver. That's her business. I don't know
Right.
why people got so upset. She wasn't saying you shouldn't date the bus driver. She just said I wouldn't date the bus
And
driver.
then remember
But
Tyler
she's in
Perry
a
had a whole
different
response.
a
Tyler
whole
Perry of all people, a
thing.
billionaire. Like, well, okay, this has gotten way out of.
Tyler. What are you doing? Go write a movie. What? That's why his movies always have that foolishness that's in there. All his movies, and we
It's
watch them. I watch them. I'm not even gonna lie. I do. I do. I watch them. But it's
I will say this.
foolishness.
After watching that documentary though about him, Maxine's baby, I said, I
Yep.
understand why Tyler. I'm not saying I agree with all the things, but I said, but I understand exactly why. I can see why he moving, how he moves, and why I can see why he thinks the way that he does. I'm not saying I ain't saying I agree with it because
Mhm.
I don't half the time. But I
Yeah.
watched that documentary, and
Same.
I cried because that's what I do. And I was like, okay, okay, I see why you don't want nobody else to make
And
the money. You
and
got to make the. I see it.
you have and for his daddy to still behave that way. Talking about daddy issues.
Oh my god.
Tyler is
Oh,
a
that's a
grown man,
yo.
billionaire, and the daddy still was like, nah. In a house that Tyler paid for.
That still paying for it. And
He
this
was
man used to beat
still
him
paying for.
every single day,
Mhm.
like beat him like to where I think at one point, right, he had to go to the hospital. Like, listen,
Yes.
that's a very good documentary. Even if you don't much care for Tyler Perry, you get if you see how he came up and why, then you have a better understanding. That's one of them documentaries, P. Yes, absolutely, because they
Maxines,
even went to
baby.
his dad. They tried to talk to him, all this stuff. Wait, that's
Mhm.
a good. And
Yeah,
also,
I
since
guess we
we're
should
talking
set it
about it,
up.
Kirk Franklin. Did you see that the Kirk Franklin documentary last year
Yes.
about his dad?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna link both of these in the show
Yes.
notes, you guys. Tell them about the documentary, P.
Kirk grew up thinking that one man was his father when it wasn't. And turns out his actual father was like right around the block. Literally right around the block.
Mm-hmm.
And he did, I don't know what, I got to go back and see what made him go do a DNA test, or people had been talking like, hey,
Someone
we actually
died.
think this dude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there it
Someone
is.
died,
And
and
somebody
at the
told.
funeral, his biological father came. Whole neighborhood, showed up for the
Uh-huh.
funeral, and then the dad just happened in a random conversation happened to mention that he had dated Kirk Franklin's mom. They were just like naming people from the neighborhood, like, oh, Shirley, so and so, Sheila, whatever.
Yeah.
Like he just happened to mention, and that's how it got kicked off. One of Kirk Franklin's background singers was at the funeral and came and told him, "Oh, this man used to, it's again decisions. If he had not had said that one sentence that didn't have nothing to do with nothing, y'all just catching up, Kirk Franklin would have never found out his father, and his mama still would not admit that that is his dad. They had to go get the DNA test. So a lot of the documentary is him talking to his mom, talking to his aunt, and they were pretty defensive. Like they were pretty for him to be such a grown man. It was hard to watch because you would think
It was
if your
tough.
child is coming to you, and I actually have a really close friend who ended up sending her mother that documentary because she's in the exact same situation where her mom is it seems as if her mom is withholding information as to who her father is. And so she's when she feels up to it, she's out here, trying to figure things out and contact people and stuff. And her mom has not been helpful to her in that regard. So that was a big when that documentary came out, that was an interesting week. That's a it, if it's not triggering to you, you should watch it. It's very interesting. You get to know more about Kirk Franklin and how he came up. But yeah, that's how they found out. There was a funeral. His dad made an offhand comment about dating this lady because they were like 14. So, mhm,
Mhm. Mhm. And that was
mhm.
part of it. Part of the shame and not telling anybody. And what back in the day, if someone got pregnant, they would send them off out of town or something. Oh, she's
Yes.
sick, or she broke her leg,
Yep.
so she can't go to school for a while.
Yep.
Um, so all kinds of stuff, all kinds of stuff. But I don't know where we were going with that. We were just talking. We're just talking.
Shonda
But
on a tangent. Shonda
Shonda
on a
on a date.
tangent. Uh,
Mm,
uh,
mm, mm,
uh,
mm,
uh.
mm, mm. but it
Daddy
circles
issues.
back
That's how we got there.
to daddy issues, and I also think about, we're seeing everything that's going on with Diddy and Kanye. Oh my God, he's blessed. Oh, bless his heart. But the children, the daughters, Diddy's daughters, Kanye's daughters, and the boys. I'm not even gonna again, we've clearly described that men can have daddy issues as well, but they have to reconcile this one day. Those girls are the twins, they're what?
Mhm.
Teenagers. They're in their
Yeah.
phones 24/7. So they're
Mhm.
seeing this stuff.
Mhm.
They see it, they hear it, the chatter. Even when Jay-Z was accused of what he was accused of, and then they dropped it. But
Mhm.
Blue, for Blue's friend to tell her people talking about you not doing good on the stage at a concert,
Right.
then you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
the same thing. They coming to her talking about, hey, so your daddy is in
Mhm.
the news for so I just think about how do you, and not to say that my dad is perfect, but he didn't have those type of issues of
Mhm.
things that I would have to think about and reconcile and look at him as a man, not just my
Yes.
dad, but as a
Yes.
man.
Yes.
These kids have to look at their father, but then as a man, what decisions do you make as a young boy? Do you do the same thing? And with Puffy, they're saying his sons may be caught
I
up
was
in
about
the
to
same
say,
stuff.
two of them definitely
You know what I'm saying?
got their own
You
cases.
know what I'm saying?
Uh huh.
And then you have the girls, the daughters, and it's not just the twins. I want to say yes, the Chase, Love. What is it? Baby Love. She was the
Chance
newest one.
and then love. Uh huh.
Chance.
Mhm.
Oh my God. I couldn't imagine. I struggle just reading about it, and he's not my daddy. So
Uh
I
huh.
don't know. God bless them. God bless the kids of these people. Because that's really what it's about.
Mhm.
It just made me think of that with Kanye, especially with what she went. Kim to go went and picked up North because Andrew Tate and his brother were coming over, and they were
I'm rolling my eyes
known
right
sex
now.
traffickers. Cause what are you doing? And she loves her dad. She probably doesn't even understand. She's like, "Mommy, why are you
She
trying to
don't
take me from my
understand,
daddy?"
and she's just exactly. She's got that kind of personality too. So
Yeah, he
that
has
is going to
personality.
be a hard road for
Mhm,
Kim.
mhm. And North, God
Because
bless her.
yeah, but her daddy is he can kick rocks far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
And
he
I
can
used
he
to
can
love
kick
me
all
some
the rocks.
Kanye. He came out when we was
Co
in college,
college
like freshman
graduate,
year. Yeah, like I was on his
that
top.
album.
Like even it's but the past couple years, even just last week, he was outside with his swastika necklace on. And when he
Mm-mm,
dropped his
unacceptable.
Super Bowl, when he did his own Super Bowl commercial for the Super Bowl this year, sent the people to the website to buy a swastika T-shirt. Then
Awesome.
put North on the song on with Puffy, who is literally
Unacceptable.
in. They won't let him out the jail right now because of sex crimes, also against minors. And you put your girl child on a song with him, and then Kim asks you not to do it, and you tell her you're gonna do what you want to do because that's your daughter, and you trademark her name, and then you gonna release the screenshots of your text conversation, and
Mhm.
then you gonna get on Beyonce's internet and say that the twins are the R word. I said,
All of it
I hope they
unacceptable.
fly that private plane to his front yard and pull up to the front door and mollywop his ass. And then Solange
Mollywop.
put the gun in
Oh,
her profile picture.
we know
And
Solange don't
Solange don't
play.
even be online no more. You
She
see
don't
her
play.
once a quarter. She'll post a picture of her at the museum or from her symphony concert or some shit. She done updated the profile picture to include the gun. I said I want somebody to go put their hands on him because now
Mhm.
I don't care. I don't care about all the issues that you have that made you how you are today. None of them mean Nothing. You don't get out there. You go, listen, my child got special needs.
Yeah.
If I swear to God, Pete, if Kanye was in front of me right now, I would smack the shit out of him. I cannot
I
stand him. You got to
I would
get
do it
out
right
there
after you.
and speak on her, and then you gonna just say, "Oh, it's both of them," and then you gonna call them like. Meanwhile, you literally got the illnesses that people have when they call you that word. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
He's
And then
gone.
he want to say, "Oh, actually, I'm autistic. I'm not. I
No.
don't have bipolar." Bullshit. You might got all of it, but being autistic doesn't make you be a racist and a bigot and be a fucking like you're
An
that.
asshole.
And then Elon with the autism, like I can't. I just
Mm-mm.
can't take the autism conversation. Okay. Granted, I'm not autistic. Just because I'm the mother of an autistic child, that doesn't make me the expert at all. I just know about her. I don't know about other people. But let me find out you out here saying you get to proudly wear you a swastika and ask people to buy swastika stuff from you because you got autism.
No.
We've
Unacceptable.
reached a point with Kanye. I know some people say it's marketing and stuff, and I think some
Mm-mm.
of it is. The rest of it is not. Like he really thinks he's out here doing his big one. I really, really wish he would learn his lesson right now. I'm tired of him. I'm ready for him to
Mhm.
learn his lesson.
He
I'm
tired of
ready.
himself. And even when everybody was on him with that, Sunday service stuff, I was like, it's not
No, I
genuine.
never. Mm-mm. The
This is
choir was
not
excellent.
genuine. The choir
I
was
will
excellent.
listen to it online. I'm not downloading the shit. I'm not buying it because I don't want
No.
no money to go to him because he had already said slavery was a choice before that.
Mhm. That's why I was
Then
like, and
he
so
want to
he
walk
pulling
around
us
here
back
like,
in.
yeah, no,
He tried to
no,
pull people back in with God, with religion, with
exactly,
gospel music, what we do,
exactly.
and people
Mhm,
went right on to it. I'm like,
mhm,
"Mm-mm, mm-mm,
mm.
mm-mm, back up, back up." But he's lost it, and all of those things, like I said, to bring it back, is just reconciling as an adult or a young child, this young person, these people, they have to figure this out eventually.
And it's
I
gonna
hope
be hard,
it's gonna be
especially in
hard.
we live. You know, it's different from how we would have reconciled it growing up. Now
Yeah.
I don't know what the like with
It's
social media.
everywhere.
It's like,
It's
and you know how
everywhere.
quickly like technology, everything's progressing. It's like I don't even know what can be next because it
Ooh,
just seems like we've done all we can do, right? Like not AI come in and that's just like it's like there's nothing left. So, but anyway, I don't know how they can reconcile it, and especially with like Puppy's kids, and it
mm,
seems like they came up under him as opposed to like
mhm,
where you have co-parents and clearly it may have been intentional, but the way that he wrapped his hands around them and make them they were up under him, and that has
yep,
done damage.
yep.
That has
With
done
Kim,
damage.
their mom dying under suspicious I mean, we can go on and
I
on with
wasn't
him.
gonna say it, but
But that's what it's there. They keep saying it. And these kids are seeing I can't I just couldn't imagine. I try to sit with it in my adult mind and try to process it, let alone these teenagers trying to process all this stuff. You know kids are assholes and jerks. Somebody's teasing them at school. Like it's a lot.
boys though, they out here like inviting, you know what I mean? Like
The
I
boys,
could
yeah.
the boys is out here like they believe their dad.
Yeah. Which
But
is
but
that's what
then
I'm
it's
talking
also
about.
like
Damage.
if you was actually if you was there during the stuff, you see what I'm saying? So it's like
It's a mess.
I'm not saying they are kids, but it's also like I don't know how they're gonna reconcile with it because they are not gonna be coming from a like stable place to reconcile.
I'm
You
not
see what
even
I'm
talking about
saying?
the boys. Yeah. In
Okay,
this
so just
case,
the younger the
the
daughter,
younger
all the
kids.
daughters basically. Okay,
The younger
and
kids.
being
The
girl
older boys,
children.
they're adults, essentially, all the
Yes,
boys, but the
yes.
girls and the minors, the young kids, how are they gonna do as they grow up? Um, and that's just on a national scale, bringing it back home to any listener who's having to reconcile parents and where you are and how they raised you and how you want to do different things with your kids and your views
Mm.
have changed. All those things have changed. Generation, what is it? Gentle parenting now.
Yeah, and
Where
reparenting
we
is a
got
thing.
spankings,
Yeah,
reparenting, relearning. So all of that is we always say go talk to that lady, that therapist.
go
If
talk
you
to that lady.
can,
Mhm.
um we are pro therapy. So if this hit a nerve, if you're thinking of your parent or how you're parenting, anything, again, Black girls therapy, and I want to
Therapy for
say
Black girls.
therapy for Black girls, and I want to
Mhm.
say they need to make one for men because I've searched, and not to say that these therapists won't take men, but I'm talking about a directory that's
Yeah.
specifically for men. Um, we might have
You
to
know,
make that
when
happen,
COVID
Shaun.
happened, there were a lot of resources floating around just with the whole once George Floyd and everything. There were a lot of resources, a lot of free resources even for getting therapy for people, for Black people, people of color. So it's just sad the way everything is done, like a 180 turn, like against
Yeah.
that. But um,
Everything.
I would hope that there's something still lingering around out there because 2020, 2021, there were some people trying to make, a very valiant effort to make sure that Black people could get the therapy that they need just off the strength of being Black and living in America, for
My God.
sure. Mhm.
Well, it's for everybody. Be gentle with yourself. Self
Mhm.
care. Take care of yourself. Mind, body, and soul.
Mhm.
Woosah.
Mhm. Oh,
And if you
sigh.
got that, if you're thinking something, if you got that discernment, listen to your gut.
She got a finger up, y'all. She got a church finger
I got my finger up. Got my church finger up.
up.
Listen to your gut.
Yeah,
Just
man.
saying.
Where can the people find you, P?
Oh, at Instagram, better 3701.
I am also on
Can they find you?
Instagram and on Threads at Hey Shonda Head. And you can find the podcast on Instagram at the Everything Has Changed podcast. Come check us out, y'all.
Later.
Want to stay locked in with us so you never miss an episode? Visit everythinghaschangedpodcast.com and join our email list. That way you'll be the first to know about new episodes and all the fun stuff we have coming your way. Meet us over there.